listening to you, it seems that you have made right decisions all the time.
Oh, not at all.
Do you ever make any wrong decisions?
Major mistakes, many times. From flying to Europe, right? We used to fly to London and Paris, and we had to withdraw.
From KL?
From KL, right? So you learn that you cannot spread yourselves too thin, because if you're small in a big market, you'll get crushed. So it's better to be big in a few markets than to be small in many markets. It's lesson number one. Seats. We used to have aircraft seats that had in-flight entertainment systems on every seat, which we thought was cool and had the latest technology, instant messaging. But the problem with that is, number one, Hollywood charges very expensive royalty fees for every movie and every screen that you charge. And because some of our flights are late at night, most people, wanted to sleep, and only about 20 or 30% of people were watching movies. So you're paying a lot of royalty fees for only a small number of people who actually want to watch movies. Now we've moved on to having portable personal entertainment devices that you can rent. So you can decide, okay, daytime flight, I'll have 60 units. Nighttime flight, I'll have 20 units. You can cater up. And by removing all these traditional TV screens that are on economy seats, we took out 2 tons of weight from the aircraft. And that's a tremendous fuel savings. So sometimes you discover new ways of becoming efficient, not because you had a great idea or you planned, but it was just accidentally from a mistake that you were trying to correct. So there are many things that we've done wrong, and we've just changed and kept adapting.
ในมุมส่วนตัวของคุณอัสราน CEO หนุ่มวัย 43 ปีคนนี้ ยามว่างเขามักจะเล่นกีฬาผาดโผนอย่างเซิร์ฟบอร์ด สโนว์บอร์ด และวิ่งมาราธอนค่ะ
Does running marathons help you in any way?
Yeah, it definitely does, because it is stressful, it's very challenging, and I think, keeping fit is important because, you want to get to the office alert and, ready to charge on with all the new latest challenges, right? So I think being fit, being time efficient, knowing how to manage your time well are skills that I think are easily beneficial to the work environment.
Let's gossip a bit about your boss. What is it like working with Mr. Fernandez?
Wow, very mercurial character, but creative people who are visionary, also are intuitive, and sometimes he's probably thinking about things that's 5 years out, but it sounds like he's thinking today, which means if you try to do it today, you might not be ready. So a lot of it is having to decide which of the different ideas are worth implementing now versus later, right? Because sometimes, he might have 10 great ideas, but actually it's important to choose the right 2 and get it done and ignore the 8. And that's not easy, because as entrepreneurs, you want all 10 ideas to be implemented.
I interviewed him before, actually, and I think what you describe about him applies to you as well. Very bright, active, creative. So when you 2 discuss business terms, do you guys argue with that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You have to. You have to, because otherwise you only get one point of view. And so we've had some very loud discussions. Do this or do that. And I think the best part is if you have mutual respect, then you let the best ideas win, irrespective of whose idea it is. It's not about what's not important is who said the idea, but whether the idea can test a vigorous debate and still come out looking very robust, and then we get it done.
Can tickets for low-cost carriers like AirAsia X become lower in the future, or is there only an upward trend?
Well, see, the thing about the low-cost carrier model is it's about, there isn't a single price, right? So you use a lot of promotional prices, but on average, the prices vary significantly. But for me, the big idea of how we can lower prices even more is by creating new revenue streams. So instead of everything bundled in a price, what if you gave people more choices so that the basic ticket price itself might be lower and lower, but then there are different choices, whether, for example, to have internet connection on board, right, or to have in-flight shopping on board. As the airline earns more revenue from these optional services, it can afford to keep even more fares lower.
What is the ultimate goal of AirAsia X? Bring down all the traditional airlines?
No, I think what's interesting is if you look at where we've flown, right? The volume of traditional airlines have continued to grow even when we compete head to head, but they're growing at a normal 3 to 5%. What we've been able to do is grow 100%. That means you're creating people who weren't flying before. And I think the big vision for me is to be able to connect every city in Asia to every other city in Asia with not more than a one-stop connection. And yeah, I think that would be a very, very big challenge, but something that we'd love to give it a shot.
จากการพูดคุยกับคุณอาสรานนะคะชัดเจนค่ะว่าเขาเป็นคนที่คิดนอกกรอบกล้าคิดกล้าทำแล้วก็ถ้าเกิดว่าผลที่ออกมานั้นไม่เป็นไปอย่างที่คาดก็มาแก้ไขทำใหม่จนในที่สุดนั้นได้ผลลัพธ์ใหม่ๆที่สร้างความน่าสนใจให้กับสายการบิน AirAsia X นี่น่าจะเป็นเคล็ดลับอย่างหนึ่งของความสำเร็จของ AirAsia X ในปัจจุบันนะคะพบกันใหม่ในสัปดาห์หน้าวันนี้สวัสดีค่ะ